My husband had a 60-page poetry expo in his Suitcase. What I read on page 38 made me book a flight home alone. I was reorganizing our suitcases on day 4 of our Caribbean honeymoon when I found a leather portfolio hidden beneath my husband's dive gear. Inside was a professionally bound 60-page document titled Marital Covenant and Household Miniature. By the time I reached page 38, I was booking a flight home alone. Mark and I met through our church community 3 years ago. He seemed perfect, stable, respected, and committed to his faith. While he wasn't particularly affectionate during our courtship, I attributed it to traditional values and our community's emphasis on saving physical intimacy for marriage. The lack of chemistry concerned me occasionally, but friends assured me that good men wait, and everything would naturally fall into place after marriage. We shared brief kisses after our engagement, but nothing more. Our wedding was beautiful, but our wedding night was awkward and distant. Mark seemed uncomfortable with any physical affection, approaching it like an obligation rather than an expression of love. He claimed exhaustion and suggested we start our marriage right on our honeymoon instead. 3 days into our Caribbean getaway, Mark was still finding excuses. The weather was too hot. He was sunburned. He had indigestion from the local food. Each night ended with him turning away after a perfunctory kiss on my forehead. On the 4th morning, Mark left for a scuba excursion he booked only for himself, saying he needed alone time with God on the reef. Hurt and confused, I decided to reorganize our luggage to calm my growing anxiety. That's when I found it by the contract that revealed who I'd really married. The first pages seemed strange but relatively harmless. Your schedules for daily devotions and rules about maintaining a godly household. But as I continued reading, confusion turned to horror. The contract included a detailed physical relations schedule limited to specific dates when conception would be possible, roasts forbidding me from wearing makeup at home or clothing that inspires lustful thoughts, of benzimation restrictions, requiring his approval for any purchase over $25, a communication section prohibiting emotional manipulation tactics including excessive crying, and withholding cheerfulness could be requirements that I send at weekly meal plans for his approval to ensure I maintained a feeling physical attributes. Physical intimacy outside of procreation attempts constitute sinful lust and will not be practiced within this marriage. Both parties agree that pure marital love requires freedom from carnal distractions. Mark had never mentioned any of these expectations during our courtship or premarital counseling, that this wasn't just a sheen dispersion of religious beliefs, nor that it was a calculated plan to establish control over every aspect of our marriage, created without my knowledge or input. The contract even included remedy protocols if I failed to meet his standards, including mandatory confessions to church elders for rebellious behavior. With shaking hands, I photographed every page, then packed my belongings. At the front desk, I explained I had a family emergency and needed to change my flight. The sympathetic clerk helped me book a seat on the next plane home. Alone, I left the hotel room immaculate with a contract displayed prominently on the bed. Across the cover page, I wrote 3 simple words: deal breaker, abang. Mark called 17 times before my plane landed back home. I actioned him once. I found your contract. I did not sign it. Our marriage was based on who I thought you were, not who you actually are. Please don't contact me again. 3 months later, our marriage was annulled on grounds of fraud. From questioned by the judge, Mark admitted he'd intentionally concealed his expectations, fearing I wouldn't marry him if I knew the truth. You were right, I told him. The only words I spoke to him directly that day. Sometimes the red flags you miss before marriage become undeniable contract clauses on your honeymoon. And sometimes the bravest response isn't trying harder. It's walking away before the ink dries on a life you never agreed to live.